You know how it is. You flip a switch, the lights come on. Turn a tap, water flows. Swipe a card, payment goes through. It all just works. But what if one day it doesn't? Today we're going to break down a really simple but powerful framework for being ready for that. Now this isn't about fear-mongering. Nope. It's about building confidence so you can be totally self-sufficient for those first, most critical 3 days of an emergency.
Okay, let's kick things off with something we've probably all experienced, a power outage. You know, it starts with a flicker and then darkness. It's annoying, for sure, but what you might not realize is that a simple blackout is often just the first domino to fall in a much, much bigger chain reaction. So let's really sit with that for a second. What happens when that little inconvenience stretches from a few minutes into hours or even days? Just how sturdy is this modern world we've built for ourselves? The reality of how connected everything is, well, it might just surprise you.
Yeah, see, a power cut isn't just one single event. It's a trigger. It sets off this incredible chain reaction where one system failing causes another to fail, and then another one after that. It really is like a domino effect, a cascade that can ripple through pretty much every single service we rely on every day.
And this right here, this shows you what that cascade looks like in real time. All of a sudden, your bank card is just a useless piece of plastic. Your phone, which you gotta remember relies on cell towers with limited battery backup, goes silent. The water pressure drops to nothing, the heat just clicks off. Even your toilet becomes a one-and-done situation. This isn't some movie plot. It's just the fragile reality of our modern lives.
So, looking at that list, you might be thinking, what's the move? Well, we don't panic. We get prepared. Let's get into the core principle that emergency services all over the world teach. This is the key to building your own resilience. This is it. This is the magic number, the single most important number to burn into your brain. 72. It's your buffer. It's your window of opportunity. It is the absolute foundation of your entire plan.
So, why 72 hours? What's the deal with that number? Well, time and time again in real-world crises, we've seen that the first 3 days are the most chaotic. That's usually how long it takes before large-scale organized help can really get rolling and services can start coming back online. The 72-hour rule is all about your ability to bridge that gap on your own with confidence. And this is so important because it's about more than just your own family. Being prepared isn't selfish. Actually, it's an incredible act of community support. Think about it. Every single household that can manage on its own for 3 days frees up first responders to focus on the elderly, the injured, the people who are in the most desperate immediate need. You literally become part of the solution.
All right, so we've covered the why. Now let's get our hands dirty and talk about the what. It's time to actually build our 72-hour kit. These are the real, tangible things that are going to get you through those critical first few days. First things first, the absolute non-negotiable water. I mean, nothing else matters if you don't have it. The gold standard is about 2 liters per person per day, and that's just for drinking. So that means having enough bottled water on hand for 3 days, and maybe even a few empty, sturdy containers you can fill up if a water truck comes to your neighborhood. Next up, food. Now the keywords here are simple and non-perishable. You want to think about stuff you can eat cold, right out of the can or the wrapper. You know, canned goods with the pull tabs, energy bars, nuts, dried fruit. This is not about 5-star dining. It's about high-energy, no-fuss calories to keep you going. So how do you get good information when the internet's down and your phone's totally dead? Well, this is the answer. You go old school. A simple battery-powered or hand-crank radio is your absolute lifeline. It connects you to official broadcasts from the authorities, so you know exactly what's happening and what you should do next. It's the perfect low-tech answer to a high-tech failure. Okay, let's talk health. A decent first aid kit is a must-have for any home anyway, but it's especially critical in an emergency. And just as vital, and this is a big one, if you or anyone in your family relies on prescription medication, make sure you have at least a week's supply set aside. You just can't assume that pharmacies are going to be open.
When the power grid goes dark, the digital economy just stops. Flat. ATMs are dead, card readers are useless. In that kind of situation, good old-fashioned cash is king. Having a stash of smaller bills and coins could make all the difference if a local shop manages to open its doors.
And to round out the kit, here are a few other things you will be so glad you have. A fully charged power bank for your phone, a good flashlight with extra batteries, some waterproof copies of your IDs and important papers, hand sanitizer, and of course, food and supplies for your pets. Can't forget them.
So, you've got the gear. You're all set, right? Well, not quite. Having the right stuff is a fantastic start, but it's really only half the battle. A true crisis plan is about what you and your family will actually do. It's about having a shared strategy for when things get chaotic.
Just stop and think for a second. An emergency could hit in the middle of a weekday. You're at work, your kids are at school, your partner's across town, and the cell network is totally jammed. How do you find each other? You need a pre-arranged meeting spot, a place everyone knows how to get to, no phone call needed.
You know, knowing what to do is just as important as knowing what not to do. This slide is basically a cheat sheet for making smart choices. Use your radio for info, don't kill your phone battery hunting for a signal. Huddle up in one room to save heat. Eat the food that's thawing in the freezer before it goes bad. These are simple, smart decisions that can make a huge difference.
Okay, let's shift gears to a more serious scenario. If you ever hear a citywide warning siren, the instructions are super straightforward and they're designed to save lives. Step 1, get inside the nearest sturdy building, right away. Step 2, close all the windows and doors and turn off any ventilation systems. And Step 3, turn on that radio and listen for official instructions. Don't guess, don't go outside to look, just follow these 3 steps.
So, let's bring this all together. We've talked about the problem, the 72-hour solution, the gear you need, and the family plan. But the real goal here, the whole point, is to change your mindset. This is all about shifting your perspective from a place of anxiety to a place of action.
This quote just hits the nail on the head. We're not talking about some massive, intimidating, lifelong project here. You can put together a basic kit and make a family plan in a single afternoon. It is such a small investment of your time, but it pays off with huge dividends in safety and, honestly, peace of mind. Because this is what it's all about in the end. It's not about dwelling on disaster. It's about earning that quiet confidence that comes from knowing you've taken practical, sensible steps. It's that feeling of being calm, capable, and ready to protect the people you care about the most.
And we'll end on this thought. That 72-hour clock we've been talking about, it isn't some abstract idea. It could start ticking for any of us at any time. So the only real question left to ask yourself is, when it starts, will you be ready?